So at this time, we're gonna welcome up James McNeil, Vaughn Clemmons, Todd Case, and Dominic Clegg, and they're gonna discuss growing a successful repossession business. Welcome to our panelists.
Welcome. Thank you. How you doing?
There we go.
This thing's falling out now.
Ready? All right, how you doing, everybody? My name is Dominic Clegg. As you said, I'm from out of San Diego, California, a little bit around here and there, 4 locations. I'm here with my wife, Leah, and thank you for having me up here. Todd?
Todd Case, Indiana Recovery Services. We have also 4 locations, 3 in Indiana, 1 in Northern Kentucky. Been in business now, in this business now since 2011. I'm honored to be up on stage with these guys, and hopefully we can help you guys out.
My name is Vaughn Clemmons. I'm from about to say Alsco of Houston. That's how long I've been in the business. I'm from American Lenders of Houston. I'm here with my son, my wife, and my office manager, Chad. We've been in the business for 35 years. I'm glad to be up here with these gentlemen.
Likewise as well, James McNeil, San Francisco Bay Area. We have 6 locations throughout Northern California. Been in the business about 18 years, 16 to 18 years, and proud to be up here with these guys.
So when they asked us to speak up here, I said, well, what defines having a successful repossession company? I was like, well, why would you pick me? And then I started thinking about it. 7 years, things have really come along for all these gentlemen up here. We talking, coming up with different subjects, and we narrowed it down to 4 topics we thought were the most important things that helped us along the way as we were growing. How does it work?
Computers up there.
Oh.
Nah, forget about it. We can do it without it on.
All right, so the first topic is having a
Leadership, or
balance.
Work-life balance.
Balance in your life. Why is that important in building a repossession company? Because we all of us up here are family men, and there's family women out there, and just you can't be you can be successful in business, but if you focus too much on the business side of everything and forget about your family, things aren't going to go very, very far. You're going to have problems at home, which is going to affect your business. So just being able to have that balance and be successful at both parts is very important. And coming up, I have 5 kids, 5 boys. After being in the Army for 14 years, doing this was it was easy, because I was gone all the time anyway. But my wife's always been very supportive, and she works with us and does it day to day also, so it's a little bit easier. But having that balance there has been our greatest, the greatest thing I have in my business. James?
Yeah, so work-life balance is something we all talk about, and it's been something that we're all trying to achieve. And I've certainly been fortunate enough, now having grown a little bit and doing a little bit more production, being able to find that time and having the resources to be able to kind of pay myself back a little bit after all these years. But I think the thing that's helped me to be successful is trying to figure out a way to give that balance back to the teams. After this pandemic, a lot of people have realigned their values, and they've looked at family and time with their family as more important. Giant corporations are having a really hard time, small businesses alike, having a really hard time with people coming back to work. So using that as a strategy, that work-life balance as a strategy to help people realize that you have their best interest in mind. It's not just about the money, it's not just a job. You're trying to give them a piece of what you have as an owner, and allow them that time with their family, as Dom said. So finding that strategy, whatever that is for you, if it's pay, benefits, or if it's time off, flexibility, working from home, there's a laundry list out there.
One of the things I think is separating yourself from the business. This business historically has a 24/7 mentality where we never really get off the clock. It's my belief that you have to put people in place to answer those phones for you. Taking a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning because a driver has a flat tire is insane. If you're trying to run and manage your business, you got to get your sleep. To balance your family life, I've been in the repossession business my entire adult life. So I got 2 boys, I got a wife, and before they came into the business, there was an expectation of me to be there for them. So I immediately knew that at a certain time I had to separate myself from the business, go home, and be at home. To do that, you need somebody to stand behind you. Now, as a startup company, it's almost impossible. So you may start your business that way, but you can't stay on that course. You must evolve to a place where you are away from your business and you have competent leaders in place for those 3 o'clock phone calls. If my phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning, something's wrong. I mean, somebody has lost a limb because I have competent people in place to take those calls. So right off the bat, I'm going to have an automatic balance in my family life.
Todd?
You know, for us, it's, for me anyways, it seems a little easier. I work with my wife. Darcy, go ahead and stand up when I call you out. She's up here in the front. She's actually, everything we did in this company, we've done together. So to me, it's a little bit different. The reason being is, you know, when you work long hours and stuff like that, you know, the wife, you know, she doesn't get to experience what you do. She doesn't get to, you know, you get home and generally people don't want to talk about what you do. When I was in law enforcement, that was one of the things when, you know, we worked together in that as well, but there was a time when we were separate shifts. And you get home, you don't want to talk about that, you know? I mean, you just want to relax and decompress. For me, it's good because we get to work together. And in that sense, you know, that sets a little bit of a balance. She already knows what goes on with me during the day, and I know what goes on with her. You know, for us, we involve our kids a little bit so they know the expectations of the business. They know, you know, what we're doing. It's not just like, hey, they're gone all the time. But then you do have to have that schedule. You have to make sure you have time for yourselves and your family. And you know, whether you schedule it, you just say today's our day, whatever it is. And your employees are going to follow you on that too. You know, for us, when we started repossession, it was seemed that the agents just worked whenever they wanted. You know, hey, I'm going to come in, I got to come back in, I got to get this car during this time, or I got to, you know, do a day run or whatever. You know, one of the things that we saw was that put some structure into that, make a schedule. You know, we have shifts. You know, you're going to work this shift, and then you know, we want you to have your time off. So our guys work a certain shift, and when they're done with their shift, they're off. You know, if something has to come up, or if it's a case they were working, you know, I mean, as much as we love to give credit to the person that put the effort in, let somebody handle that's working, and let the people have their time off, because they have families too. You know, you demonstrate that, you know, you demonstrate what you do into your employees. You show them that you care, you want them to have the time off. I don't want you working 60, 70 hours a week. And that's kind of how we try to instill the work and life balance. So.
Great, thank you guys. You know, one of the rules we have is we unless it's an emergency, we do not call or text the drivers when they're off. That's their time. That's their time for family time. It's not time for you to intrude in their family time. They need to have that separation between family and work so they keep their sanity, and they have other things going on besides what you got going on. If it could wait, let it wait. All right? All right. So when we talk about leadership and team building, right now is the time for that after the pandemic. You have to come forward. You have to be able to, you know, set the example. And when you're hiring new hires, don't just hire out of necessity. Wait till the right guy comes along, the right girl comes along, because you hire the wrong person, they could become a cancer. You know, they'll spread that bad attitude, that bad hire attitude, train skill. Okay. So when you bring on agents from other companies, I know a lot of you know this, that they're going to bring those bad habits. They're going to run their mouth, and they're going to think that they know everything under the sun, and then they're going to spread all that bad attitude throughout the company, and it's going to ruin everything. You know, it's like putting oil in a ship's water supply. It'll just ruin the drinking water for everybody. So just take that time, find the right candidate, and you know the way, show the way. Be a leader. You know, show you guys what the right thing to do is. Todd?
You know, I agree 110%. A lot of people get excited when they get a repossession agent or somebody from another company and say, this guy's already got experience, he's got this. But some of the, you know, most of the companies that we deal with on a daily basis or that are in the industry lack a lot of structure. You know, I mean, we bring awareness to everybody. We try to educate ourselves, but for the most part, you know, the companies in this industry are, generally have lack structure, and especially the smaller ones. So you may be just getting a bad apple from another company. Luckily, you know, we're able to learn from everything that we do, and we're able to educate our people and bring them up to speed on how we want things done. I mean, knowledge is power. I mean, you got to be able to share the knowledge, share what you've learned with your people. You know, put a plan together. We have a training program that we put together. That was one of the big steps that we made. We grew so fast, and when we took our company over, that one of the struggles we found is it seemed like you're just putting people out on the street just to get them out there. You know, you need a man in a truck. You need somebody in a camera car. One of the things we did is kind of, whoa, so slow down. You know, in our previous career, everything was structured. Everything had a place. Everything had a time. You couldn't just throw somebody out in a truck. So we put a training program together and made sure that everybody met what we wanted. Everybody was able to achieve what we wanted. They were trained. You know, whether it be internal training, you know, make sure that they have all their industry training, that you're not just sending somebody out there. Because let's face it, I mean, they're a direct representation of the whole industry. If something happens, our insurance rates go up. You know, if they conduct themselves in a manner that they shouldn't be, it's because of the lack of training, right? If you showed them and gave them the opportunity to train, you continually train them, you're going to have a good person. But that comes with who you are too. You have to demonstrate how you want them to act. I mean, they're going to, you know, just like anybody, a true leader, they're going to follow the leader, right? So you have to conduct yourself in that manner too. Don't be afraid to jump into the trenches, so to speak, with your guys. You know, whether that means cleaning out cars in 100-degree heat, or that means going out in a repo truck for the night. You know, just because you're an owner or just because you're in a management position doesn't mean that. Demonstrate to your guys and your employees that you're going to do the same job as they are. Nobody's beneath you. And show them that, you know, you support what they do, and you have an open door policy. You're willing to listen to their suggestions and their ideas. And you know, that's what's really worked for us, is just being communicative with our team and showing them that we're willing to help whenever.
We believe that together, everyone achieves more. That's the little acronym for us for team. I believe it's important for, from the leadership up all the way down, that no one's the smartest person in the room. Really, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. And you want to give your team the ability to have input and value their input and have a space set aside for them to understand that what they say, they're the boots on the ground. What they say matters. And you want to give them the opportunity to talk to you. You build a team from the bottom up. That's my belief. You know, we have a very good team. It's well-oiled, and it's really because they have input. One of the things we do is we have an email line for our employees that goes directly to me. You know, because there's, you know, I've never been in the military, but I operate as if I've been in the military. There's structure, and you can't go past a certain point unless you went through these 3 or 4 points. The problem with that is sometimes there's something the guy doesn't want to talk to the person that's over him about. So I have a direct link email. I invite that manager in the room, and we talk candidly to get that problem resolved. I think a person respects you more as their boss if you show them that you're one of them. I came from grassroots. When I started repossessing vehicles, it was nothing like we have today. And everything I learned from the bottom. The point here is it's important for you to remember where you came from. When you start acting like you're better than your employees, you lose employees, and they'll go to find somebody else that's going to treat them with respect. So we give them the ability to communicate with me, to communicate with my management team, and if they're not satisfied with the outcome, at least they had the opportunity to speak. So there's a lot of times that you don't get the outcome that you want, but having the space to talk gives you the ability to say, okay, you know what, I understand what you're saying, and I'll follow that lead. So a leader to me is being humility and giving the person that's under you the ability to know that we're on the same level field.
Yeah, I mean, it's all really, really good stuff. And I'm basically going to second what all the gentlemen here have said. We try to coach our organization like a team. And, you know, I played sports when I was a kid, and, you know, we all have our favorite team, and we have a little bit more enjoyment talking about things from that perspective. If you're leading your organization through telling people what they've done wrong, and you're not equally or 2 to 3 times fold telling them what they're doing right and celebrating your wins, you're really not serving yourself or your team. And To grab another buzzword from a buzz phrase from 2016, servant leadership. If you think about your organization like this, if this is what you have drawn and you have a hierarchy drawn, you're really thinking about it the wrong way. You really got to think about your management being there to serve the people that you want to become better. Like Vaughn commented on, allowing people to grow and allowing people to take on roles and take them out of what you did when you started this business and what kept you up at night, or you were the one training, or you were the one inspecting the trucks. You have to find an opportunity for different people to grow, and you have to allow them to try it and fail, and then move them into something else. We spoke a little bit about finding the right people and giving them opportunity. And if you have somebody in a position and then that's just what they're doing and they never have any other opportunity to grow, you're not only not serving them and you're not serving the other team members around them, but you're not serving yourself, because you're building an organization that's going to die with you. And personally, that's not how I want to live. I want to be able to run an organization that allows me to travel and live a more balanced life, like Dom had commented on.
Think of leadership capital. You have a pocket full of leadership capital. Do you want to just dig in there and be in everybody's face and use all that capital up on that one little problem? Or do you want to save it up for the bigger problems and really just have your levels of management to help you on those smaller problems, so you're not involved in everything and stressed out every day when you get home? You come home, you're in a bad mood, and you throw your pants in the corner, watch TV, and don't say anything to your family. You really got to build those levels of management and trust them to do the job. If you hired them and you put them in that position, trust them to do the job. You don't need to be over their shoulder. They're going to feel like you don't have confidence in them. And you got to give everybody the why. Let them know why they're doing things. If they know that end state, they're more likely to buy into the program. They know why you're doing it. You don't have to tell them why, but why not tell them why? Tell them why you're doing something. Get them involved. Get them to have stake in that. Sustained training and education. This is obviously very important. Some people, you show them how to use a truck, you throw them on the road, and that's it. You never tell them another thing. As long as they're getting cars, you don't care, right? So that's the way a lot of people used to think, and with everything changing in the business, you got to keep everybody updated. What I found out was we were hiring camera car drivers, and just assuming, we'd give them the list, check the oil. Just assuming they knew how to check the oil. You wouldn't believe how many people don't know how to check the oil in their car. So never assume that people know things. Teach them everything. Just like when I was a drill sergeant, we did teach them how to make a dang sandwich, how to shave their face. You just have to assume they know nothing and teach them everything that you want them to know, just the way you want them to know it. James?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of good programs out there. We just looked at ARA University. There's other programs out there that you may feel like you're forced to use for certain reasons, one or another. Whatever you choose, I really believe that there's a testing component, there's the education component, but there's a component that's often overlooked. And I think that OSHA refers to it as a tailgate meeting, right? And if you think about a construction project, and some people are arriving on the site today, and they're standing around the truck and they're saying, "Hey guys, we got some high voltage lines going in," and they're kind of telling them the lay of the land. And we found this to be one of the best things that we ever did. And we do this a couple different ways. We do it in person. We do it on conference calls. We do it on chat. So we have a driver safety and training chat. We also have different chat rooms for different groups within the company. So the warehousemen have theirs, the repossessors have theirs, the scanners have theirs, management, and I can go on. But within those groups, you take the opportunity when you're sitting at your desk going, "God damn it," and you're upset about something. Stop right there and get that information out to the team members in the most positive way you can. Don't take it as a negative and tell everybody the loss that you're undertaking. Nobody wants to hear about your $1,000 or your $10,000 loss. it's an opportunity for you to get the message out and to teach how that could be prevented in the future. And the great thing about these chat threads is occasionally you can go back through them and regurgitate the information you said 6 months ago real easy. But this isn't separate from the portals or the university. It's a combined effect, and it's a mechanism of being present and being a leader. And whether, I truly don't think you should just 100% give this to one person. I think you as the owner or president or founder of the company, that you really need to get involved in, at least occasionally get involved in this thread. I personally, this is the one that I manage. Even though I could easily assign safety to somebody, I personally manage it. And Harding Brooks, wherever they're at in the room, every one of their PDFs that they send out, every single one goes out over this thread, and then I try to find a YouTube video that shows somebody tailgating too close and getting in an accident. And those two things combined create a conversation.
Absolutely.
Well, we think of it like this. Too long, our industry was the wild, wild west. We operated with no set of rules. And now this is some standards that have been placed upon us. We had habits that have been set over the years that's become many of our standard operating procedures. So when I look at our compliance, I go directly to safety, because that is what really affects our bottom line. With damage claims, accidents, our insurance are already high enough. So we invested in a software called Samsara. And unlike most things, like some of these cameras that we've had, we had to go back and look through the camera footage when we checked on the drivers to see how he was doing. The problem with that is you find out that while you're looking at that footage, that he did things that really could have put you out of business, but it happened months and months ago. With Samsara, it's instant feedback. That not only does it send us exactly what that person's doing, it tells that person what he's doing. Hey, you just ran a stop sign. Hey, you're distracted driving. Hey, your seatbelt's not fastened. And it does not stop. It continually alerts them. When we first implemented this software, it was amazing how we put some safety guards in, so once a guy did something 4 times, we terminated his employment. It didn't matter how lean this market is. If we lose our insurance, we're out of business. So 4 times you're out. And we staged that over some months. And what we found out was when we first started, we were getting alerts every day, running lights. And we were looking at these guys running lights, driving, at 70 miles an hour and on their computer, on their phone. We're looking at this real time. So what that did for us is those alerts were always coming in. We gave them a formal write-up, a verbal, and it went from maybe 15, 20, 30, 40 a night down to 0. That tells you that your drivers can conform, they can change, but they need instant feedback. The worst thing you can do is wait till something happens to review what you've been doing. I always say the hole in the wall theory to my employees. If we go into our office and there's a hole in the wall, and we say, I gotta fix that hole. 2 or 3 days go by, you still remember that hole. A month goes by, you don't even see the hole. Somebody comes into that building for the first time, they go, what's wrong with this guy? Doesn't he see this hole? That's how our insurance companies look at us. They see these problems as consistent patterns, and we're waiting until we have a catastrophic loss of life or limb or a $200,000 claim because someone's hurt, and they continue to just pile on the losses, and then we make a change. By that time, it's too late. Like James, I also run our safety meetings. We don't do them every month, we do them every quarter. And what I found is by giving people money, keeps them in check. If they sustain a 90% safety score, they can spin a wheel. The highest prize is $400, all the way down to a night off, paid night off. Those things add something for them to look forward and go, hey, it's worth me doing this. It shows because this is going to be one of the months we're going to look at it. We're going to be paying some money because we had 10 of our employees that were at 90% and higher. The rest of them weren't far, and most of it is because when you're driving down the street and the speed limit is 35 and you're habitually doing 40, it goes against your score. So for us, all the other stuff that UDAP and all this stuff that we have to do with, that's a part of our deal, it really doesn't affect us. What affects us is when somebody has an accident. That hurts. So we really focus our deal around safety, and it's worked for us.
Yeah, like they said, obviously safety is super important for every company, whether you have an employee of 20 years or a brand new employee. That's part of your training program. From day one, you need to train these guys on how you want it done. Insurance is expensive, like you said. I mean, and that's one of the easiest mistakes to make in this industry is in a vehicle. We do a lot of our work in vehicles. But, when I was in law enforcement, they said, one of the things that they taught is, train like you fight, fight like you train, well, basically, how you train these guys, how they're going to react in the field, especially in our job. I mean, a lot of times they're in situations that happen spur of the moment. If they don't have the knowledge of the industry that they need to have to get themselves through that incident, that moment that they're in, they're going to make a mistake. So it starts with us. I mean, as owners, managers, it's so easy to just allow somebody to get out there and get rolling because training takes time. It takes money, it takes time. It does. And to put the programs together, to sit with everybody, and so many times, and we've seen it in our own company where it's like, oh, I just don't have time to train them that way. Unfortunately, that's where we make the mistake. You have to do it, and you have to put a plan in place and make sure that you can, whether it's check the boxes or do a test at the end, but make sure that your person's, ready for whatever task you're putting them in. There's so many repossession companies that lose the ability to do what they're in because of insurance. They lose their insurance because of a simple mistake what they thought was a simple mistake, but they don't realize how big that is. Like they said, it could be a safety concern. It could be just not knowing the rules about something, whether it's breach of peace or whatever it might be. With education, I mean, it's continual. That's why it's called continuing education. Whether it be from risk or it be something in-house, you got to continue to educate your people. Try to do the best job that you can. Education goes two ways too, though. It's not just educating your people, but bringing this education to the clients. One of the things we did a few years ago was we did a demonstration for one of our clients. And it was just simple. It was showing them how to put a vehicle on dollies. There was people there with their jaws dropped. They didn't know that much time went into putting a vehicle on dollies. They just hear this flatbed or dolly fee and they're like, why do you need that? So educate your clients too, and that's just one example. There's plenty of ways that you can educate them, but share with them. Explain to them why you need this fee. Explain to them, and educate your people too to understand that, hey, this is how we do things. This is why the client wants it done this way. Not just because they said so. This is why we have to do it. This is why we have to do it this way. Education's power. I mean, it's going to make your business super successful.
Yeah, on that, the demo thing is a great idea, guys. All your local lenders, or if you're anywhere near these regional offices of these larger lenders, ask them if you can come out and do a demo for them. I took most of my team up to Del Mar Recovery up in Carlsbad up there, which is now Resolvian, and they had hundreds of people come outside. They'd never even seen a tow truck before, or why those damage points, or where they could be damaged if it was done wrong, so they know how to, reply to those claims. They didn't even know what they were talking about half the time on these claims. I was like, look, this is how this would happen if it was done like this, or if they're not using the correct bars with the coating on it and they're breaking in and scratching the crap out of the door, instead of going to get a new bar. That's why that would happen. But you know what I mean? So it's just education. You got to educate the clients, because a lot of these people, they're just hired. We need a CSR rep, and they'll come in. They don't know anything about what we do. Show them what we do. Show them why we do it, why we use dollies, or how long it takes to put that doggone motorcycle on a freaking self-loader. Show them how we do that, and that was a big one, by the way. They're wondering why motorcycles are such a big deal because they're smaller. Man, you show them that, they'll change their whole outlook. All right, so we're running out of time here. The ability to adapt to change. It's changing every day, and the worst thing you could say is, this is how we've always done it. You stick with that, you're going to get stale, you're going to get complacent, and you're going to die. Complacency kills. You got to be able to evolve. You got to be able to change with anything, like anything, even in life, in your family life. What do we have now? We have all those vampire attorneys coming out trying to get us for anything, right? The one thing that they're counting on is that we don't have cameras. So I was like, okay. I put cameras on everything. All our lot personnel have cameras when they're cleaning the vehicles, when they're interacting with people, saying that, it saved us so many times I can't even tell you. Put cameras on everything you have, because that video evidence is so valuable you just don't even know. Todd?
We have to change. Everything's changing in our industry. The companies that don't change, they're going to fall behind. Nobody likes change because it's different, right? It's not what we're used to. And especially when it's just shoved down your throat, so to speak. communicate. Whether it's your own people you have to change, you don't come to them and tell them, we're changing because we just are. Explain to them why you're changing. Explain to them why you need to change. You know, we all are told from our clients at times that, hey, this is how it's happening and you need to do it this way. We want that explanation. Why is it changing? What's going on? What changed about it that we have to change? But change is good. I mean, and if you look in the, you know, in our lifetime, how many things have changed, and generally they change for the better. They're not always good changes. Hopefully we can explain why they're changing. Hopefully we can explain to our crew why they're changing. One of the changes in the industry has been technology, and we welcome it. You know, I mean, from, you know, DRN, clear plan, the changes in RDN, you know, with cameras, whatever it might be. You know, all these are good positive changes. You got to get on board with that. You know, we're like he is. I mean, we use cameras in all of our equipment. You know, we use we're just starting to pilot a body camera program, so to speak, testing it out, trying to see where that goes, but it's beneficial. Don't be afraid to change. A lot of people say that, you know, it's so expensive, it's so expensive. Well, make small changes. You know, you have to walk before you run, so to speak, you know, so don't go out and buy 10 sets of in-vehicle cameras because everybody else has them. You know, make that change, try it for a while, see if it works for you, grow with the change. Everybody's different, you know, but you have to be able to be willing to change within your company to grow.
It's my belief that change is always good. Years ago, I gave every employee, when they started, a small book called Who Moved My Cheese? It's a simple book. You read, you know, it's a simple read. It just gives them the format around why we need to change. Here's the thing, change is always bad when it's forced down your throat. You know, change when it's forced is tough. Let's think of some changes that were good that we initially thought were bad. I can remember when we had roll fax paper and then we got plain paper. I remember when we had plain paper assignments and then we got DRN. I remember when we used to give hit run lists and then we got clear plan. And then we went from calling and having people call our office constantly to set up appointments. Then we got clear data. Then we went from skip tracing crazy to now we have DRN going into that stage with offering skip tracing in their system, and the LPR technology has almost eliminated skip tracing. All these things improved our industry. But then let's look at some things that were forced on us. Closed fees, gone. Investigation fees, whatever you want to call it, gone. Storage fees, gone. Property fees, gone. Why? It was because we didn't have a seat at the table. Because we were not able to adapt from our small frame, from our small positions, our small tables, our small circles on how we're used to doing things. Change is good when we can. There's some people in this room that I never even used to speak to before the pandemic. What we found out was that we must get our own house in order. When I say our own house, I mean the state you live in. Our state associations are so important. I never thought I would join a state association until the pandemic. And I talked to our president of our state association, 4, 5, 6 times a month. Either it's on a text or our own little chat line, but we communicate. It's important to know that how we're going to change this industry cannot stop when we leave this room. Change is going to start when we actually believe what we're saying. When the dollars start rolling back in the next couple of months, we have to keep the same mindset we have right now. Change must always continue. And just think of what I said about DRN and RDN and clear plan and clear data, how when we gave our drivers the clear plan deal, they hated it. Why are we changing? I lost a driver behind it. And now when clear plan goes down, they're wondering what's going on. Change is good. I just invite you all to remember that we all are one. I'm not speaking to the clients in this room. I'm talking about us recovery agents. Thinking of us as one, changing in unison together. That's what's going to change the narrative. And as we walk together with our state associations and under the leadership of Dave Kennedy under the ARA, I don't know what associations you're involved in, I'm with ARA, but whatever national associations you're with, change has to come from each of us, not looking at our competition as an enemy or a frenemy and looking at them as our ally. And the reason we move forward, we move together as one. I think of the phrase with the oxen, you know, when you got an ox, you put them in one of those little deals, I don't know what they're called, but they lock them in as one. They put 2 in there and they move together in unison steps. But right now, our industry is fragmented. And that's because we got one person going this way with this focus and the other one going this way. A divided house cannot stand, period. This is our house. If we take care of our house, we can move this concept that these lenders have of us, that we're not the guys we were 35 years ago. We were bad people. I mean, okay, we did some crazy things. I did some crazy things. Okay? But we've changed.
Bad man.
We've changed. And I'm not the same person I was when I was 20. Okay? Things have changed. I want to give you one more change. We went from slide hammers, sucker tool, force tools. The guys who are old in this room knows what those things are at, or are. I took cars in the middle of the night with slide hammers, force tools, sucker tools. I did not have a tow truck. You had to have a partner with you, and you walked up a driveway, and this time I was in Ohio and New York. I walked up the driveway, you're scared, everything happens, and you slide hammer out an ignition in the middle of the night. You know, when I got a tow truck, I was like, yay. Okay, so we changed from the slide hammer noise with a partner to a tow truck to a self-loader. Now we could take a car in 5, 6, 7 minutes. Seconds, not minutes. Seconds. My point is this, guys. We are one. Divided, we cannot stand. And I invite you all to circle around this wagon of change. And don't go home this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow, thinking that just when the business comes in, the change can stop. Always look to change what you're currently doing, because you can always do better. That's my belief.
Excellent. We are a change-resistant industry. And I think that's a lot of what Vaughn's hitting on, is that, you know, there's probably people contracted out there that still have people without tow trucks, believe it or not. So realizing that that change is gonna suck you down the river, or you're gonna be on the front of it, riding the front of that wave and being ahead of somebody, you can use adaptation to change as a mechanism to be better than those around you. And use that as a method to be a more attractive business. Getting investment from the team members that you require to do the job and run the business is very important too. As Vaughn spoke to, us feeling like change is forced down on us causes us to be even more resistant than we already are. So think about how you feel about that industry change, and look at yourself in relationship to the team members you have. And outside of those industry changes that you're required to make, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it works for you, start to develop a pattern within your team of discussion and identification of problems. I don't like to blame. And it's not that I don't want to hold people accountable, but I think it's far too easy to blame and to write somebody up. Not that you shouldn't do that, but in reflection of that, you have to understand that the mistakes that one person makes, or the problems that you have, or the error that a dispatcher made, it's not isolated. It's endemic of the greater fragmentation of the industry that Vaughn spoke of, and that's you remember working in 12 portals, right? Some of that's been corrected. We all are probably appreciative of RDN's efforts to bring all the forwarders into one and get those assignments pipelined into us. And some of those things get better, but there's 100 other things that are not even industry specific. Your fuel card might give you issues, and your drivers have to drive halfway across town because you think you're getting a better deal on the card lock price. You may be able to bring in the lowest, newest person, and they may identify a problem that the rest of your team agrees with, and like Vaughn's example of the hole in the wall that's been there for 6 months. Those newest team members at times have been the drivers of change, and they don't know what to do with it. They just raise their hand and give it to us. And then you as a leader, thinking of yourself as a servant to the people that run your business, you take that and you go as far as you possibly can with it. And then you get other people invested. And you can build a culture around that. I mean, there's whole books written on it. You don't need us to tell you how to do it. There's Kaizen was a method that I believe Toyota used, but it's a constant change management. And 2 or 3 changes a month add up. And at the end of that year, your organization's different, and your team gets good at it. So when something new comes around, they don't look at it as, oh man, this is going to change my job, and where do I fit in the organization, and now we're doing collections differently, and that's going to personally affect my job, and you know, I don't, where do I fit in? Instead, you begin, it's not perfect, but you begin to develop a culture within your company that is willing to openly discuss problems. They're willing to identify issues and errors and talk about them, even when it's yourself. And you can lead this by talking about what you've done. You know, all my guys know the kind of stuff we did 18 years ago. They know the kind of stuff that we did, and we openly talk about how much more they have to be better at what they do now. And I commend them and respect them for having such a more challenging job than I had when I began this business. But that culture is really important. And that's through and through on every topic that we discussed today. It starts with you, and it starts with you developing those other people to live in that same image that you want to be. Not a top-down management, but a servant leadership mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. When we were getting together, talking about what we wanted to talk about, what, you know, the important, we broke it down to these 4 topics, but there's so many more topics, and we just wanted everybody to be able to leave with something. You know, just one idea or one, you know, just anything. Just leave this room with something. And these guys, all these guys up here, and myself, very approachable. Any questions about how we do things, or just anything. And please don't be afraid to approach any of us.